Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Star Trek Lower Deck Season 2 Episode 6, Spy Humongous. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks. In this video I will cover Episode 6 of Season 2, A Spy Humongous. So I have to start with a spoiler warning for this episode. Of course, if you haven't seen it, there will be spoilers here. So, this episode was fine. I mean, I kind of liked it. It didn't blow me away. It's another averagely good episode, similar to last week's. I actually kind of like last week's a little bit better, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, it was okay. Like, it didn't blow me away, but there was, it was fine. There was some jokes in it that worked. This felt more kind of by the numbers, for a Lower Decks episode. It did have a joke at the end that I fucking loved, and I was laughing hysterically on, but the rest of the episode, other than that joke that I thought was absolutely hilarious, was kind of just average. It was kind of just okay. So I realized something when watching this episode, that I'm actually a huge fan of Beckett Mariner, and the reason why I realized that during this episode is because she didn't really have anything to do, and I found that boring. I guess she's always been like the main character in the center of the show, so maybe it's like a good thing when they don't always focus on her and they focus on some of the other characters more, but I don't know. Her storyline basically was to go around, like, and bad shit would happen to them when they were, cleaning up all these anomalies. Now, the concept of them going around cleaning up anomalies, I did think was fairly funny enough. I did like the group dynamics, the character dynamics, because I love how out of the four of them, like, Tindy, of course, signed them up for it because she wanted something different and something more exciting, and Mariner and Rutherford was kind of just there and just going along with Mariner, but they kind of felt it as like cleaning up trash, and they felt that it was a really tedious, boring job. But it's funny that Boimler was the one who was really enthusiastic about it and really loved it. However, he ended up not doing it because he got invited to join this other club, the Red Shirts. Love the name of that. Anyway, I'll get to that shortly. Anyway, he was invited to join that, so he didn't actually get to go with it, even though he was ironically the most enthusiastic about it. I kind of liked it. I loved how when Boimler left, you think that, oh no, they're going to get jealous. They think Boimler's ditching them, and Tindy's like, did you see what Boimler did? And Mariner was just like, yeah, he's joining that other group in order to ditch this trash cleanup. What a great idea. I wish I did that. And then when they go around cleaning up the trash, they, as I said, just all this bad shit happens to Mariner. And then Mariner and Rutherford are just whining the whole time. And Tindy's trying to be enthusiastic about it, but she's getting sick of hearing it. And so she ends up getting really pissed off. And then she has this glowing cube that turns her into a scorpion. And I do love that. I think it's quite funny when Boimler joins back up with them, and it's like, oh, was it an orb that turned her into a scorpion? And Mariner's like, no, you're way off. It was a cube. That was a funny joke. It does play on the character dynamics, because I like how they address the fact that Tindy is enthusiastic about everything. That actually creates tension in this particular case with her friends, because that's always a plot point that it just seems repetitive about her being like enthusiastic, where you think something comes up and you think, oh, that's boring, oh, that sucks, but she always goes, that's fantastic. Like, she always gets excited about everything, which they kind of overdone that joke throughout 2 seasons. So I do like how they kind of addressed that the other characters are kind of getting annoyed with her being enthusiastic about everything. But then there's like a character arc in the episode where they realize that maybe they shouldn't try to tamper her enthusiasm. Instead, they should support it and be supporting of it. And so I felt that was an interesting storyline to have. But as I said, like, Mariner didn't really do much in this episode except whine and get hit with shit. And so I actually found that I was disappointed about that, actually. I think it was less funny because it had less to do with Mariner. And Rutherford, of course, was just there. Like, they didn't give him any characterizations. He was just going along with Mariner, so, and a lot of the crazy shit that they found along the way was kind of just too ridiculous, and I kind of don't like when Lower Decks goes too over the top, although it went over the top with that scorpion thing, but I actually did find that funny. And then there's Boimler, who teamed up with the Red Shirts, which I love. I love the name of that group, how they call the Red Shirts, and Boimler was like, why you call the Red Shirts? Because we're invincible. Which is a nice in-joke that they didn't dwell on, that they didn't overdo and weren't too on the nose about. They were just like in universe, they were, Red Shirts die all the time. Like, that would have spoiled the joke if they did that. If I had a character actually say that in the universe, but we know as Star Trek fans what red shirt means, so it makes it really funny. And I kind of like this storyline too, about how Boimler is basically, I mean, it's okay. I'm not too crazy about this. Just like the other one, it was decent too, because I don't know. It is a bit silly. I don't think it's the funniest thing ever, but I think it works. How these ensigns are basically seen as like, they're gonna get Boimler a promotion. They're in the know. They know what's going on, but of course you find out they don't have a fucking clue. And like they try to get Boimler to say the speech, and Boimler gives this really great, like, typical Star Trek speech. Which I think is kind of wasted in this episode, but I guess it's showing that Boimler is sort of learning some things. But I gotta say, I'm really disappointed because I saw previews and stills of this scene where Boimler had that like haircut. It makes him look older and like futuristic, and he's sitting on the bridge of the Enterprise D. I thought this was like an alternate timeline, a future timeline, or possibly even his duplicate, William Boimler. But so I'm actually disappointed that this is all it was, that he was just giving a speech and imagining himself there, and they just gave him this haircut. I do like how they were trying to accessorize and like, what is that you're wearing? I was like, I'm wearing the same uniform everyone wears. Like, that was kind of funny because they were making the cliche, like, let's make him a cool kid and let's dress him up and whatnot. And I did kind of like that that Boimler proved to be better than them. When Tendi was a scorpion and endangering people, they just wanted to give speeches. But Boimler knew that the way to diffuse the situation was to humiliate himself. And they're like, oh God, how dare you do that? Of course, it was mainly just the head dude, because the other 2 people, or 3 people actually, they started to see the worth in Boimler, and that he actually did a good thing. And I love how that guy was so obsessed with becoming acting captain, and when he asked Ransom, please make me acting captain, and Ransom's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And he goes up to Boimler, it's like, good job. So it's showing that he actually did a good job. And of course, when he does become acting captain, he's only acting captain for like 2 seconds until Shaq sends him to go clean up some shit. So yeah, that was kind of funny. I will say it's a better Boimler subplot than some they had in like the Tom Paris one, was clawing through the quarters. That was a dumb subplot. This one at least explored his character more, but it does make me wonder where the show is going with his character, because they can't be like the Simpsons and just have it stagnate and have them be the same age and instance forever, because that would just get boring, quite frankly. And I almost feel like they're bumping into being repetitive already in season two. I kind of feel like they need to progress these characters in some way. Which is kind of, I don't know, brings me back to my disappointment in season two, because season one they set up to change everything. They set up to kill, they killed Shax. Boimler left to go on the Titan, and they revealed that, the Mariner Beckett Mariner and her mother, Captain Freeman, they revealed their mother Duller, so they had to work together, and they found a way to undo all of that change and bring everything back to the status quo. And that kind of annoyed me, to be honest. And I feel like the show it can't stick in this status quo forever. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Because this episode works because it progresses Boimler's character. But if they undo this and return everything to the status quo and he's stuck being the same character forever, it's going to get boring. And I dare say it's already getting repetitive. But that is just me. Anyway, then we get this storyline with the senior officers, with the spy, and this was kind of spoiled for me in the trailers. Like I saw I think in the trailer for the season it had showed this Packlet spy who was taking pictures of his own foot, and he was being really shitty and obvious at being a spy, and it was funny, but that's pretty much all there was to it. The thing that happened on the planet, I don't know. I didn't really find it all that funny. I feel like they had the groundwork for something that could have been more interesting, or make commentary on something. I suppose it kind of made commentary how there was there was a queen, but she wasn't important, and there was a king, but he wasn't important, and there was the emperor, and then all of a sudden a revolution happened, and they're like, revolution, and then the guy's like, we're free, and then he's like, oh wait, I got this big hat, no, I'm the emperor, which is kind of a commentary on how when revolutions happen, they pretty much become the evil dictator that they were fighting against, which has happened a lot in history. So I suppose there's some commentary there, but I feel like they could have done more with that. However, I will say I did find it really funny when the Packlet came in and put on the giant hat, after the revolution, whatever, and it's like, no, I'm the emperor, and Freeman's like, oh, god damn it. She was just getting sick of it. And then, of course, how they, it's a bit ridiculous how they keep calling her Janeway, because I get calling every ship the Enterprise because that's the first ship they encountered, but the Packlets never encountered Janeway unless they watched Voyager. I don't know. I guess it was a funny running joke, particularly when the spy came back and, oh, she's not even Janeway, she's Captain Freeman, and she's just like, that's what I've been saying the whole time. That was funny. But other than that, the whole repeatedly calling her Janeway thing, didn't make sense in the universe to me. But anyway, so, yeah, it was funny that they, Freeman got him to reveal. It's like, oh, so, just so I know how clever you are, what is it that you didn't tell me? And he tells her, and then the funniest part of that is when they leave, and you think they're going to go, oh shit, we told her, but instead they're like, we won against Janeway, yay! They're still that oblivious. That was funny. Alright, so I'm kind of talking myself into liking this episode more. But it's funny, at the time of watching this, I don't know. It was good. It was definitely a good episode, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they could have done more with it. And, there's some humorous parts of it, but I don't know. Overall, it kind of felt more the same to me. And honestly, the reason why I said I liked last week's episode better because of the chase scene with when they're driving through the station and they almost hit Captain Pike or someone in that same wheelchair, and you see him more that was more exciting to me than the whole Tendy running around like a scorpion. That was just kind of silly nonsense. And I guess it was funny enough that Boimler... I actually didn't really find it funny when Boimler kept hitting himself, but whatever. It was a decent episode. But, of course, it had the ending. I fucking love this ending. Where they're like, oh, God, they had this... One of the things they stole from the anomaly cleanup was like this thing that lets them project their voice on any planet that they want to. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do with that? We're gonna prank call Armorous, and they're like, and the next thing you know, we see Armorous from Skin of Evil, and they start prank calling them. They're like, hey, Armorous, you suck, you're just a pile of crap. And it's like, what? Get over here! I want to torture you. Like, that was an amazing. It's those kind of jokes that you kind of have to be a Star Trek geek, or at least have some familiarity with Star Trek franchise to get that really, really work for me. That I wish the show would do more of. Like, this is a glimpse of like how funny the show could be, whereas the rest of the episode was just moderately funny. So I want more episodes like this scene, like they had at the end of season 1, where like that movie one, which was pretty much the whole way through the episode. But anyway, yeah, that was hilarious. I think I will have to say it's probably the funniest joke in the season so far. I was laughing my ass off. But yeah. Anyway, my rating for this episode out of 10, I'm going to give this a 7. Very good. Yeah, it was good. It was decent. Stuff about it I liked. Stuff about it I thought was moderately funny. But overall, the storylines never really reached any greatness to me. They were just kind of, moderately good. They gave me a chuckle here and there. But I felt like I wasn't as invested in the characters or this particular situation. It's just like, oh yeah, Tendy's a scorpion again, and the Packlets are being stupid again. And so yeah, so it was okay. Maybe I'll end up liking this episode more the more I watch it, but we'll see. That's kind of just where I'm at right now. Anyway, that is it for my review of the Spy Humongous. I shall be back every week to cover Lower Decks. Also cover many other Star Trek stuff on my channel, as well as other shows like Better Call Saul, The Expanse, Star Wars, Clone Wars, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.